Hi, I'm Steve Whitney, President and CEO of Albert Kahn Associates. This portion of the Central Campus is a wonderful mixture of classical to modern architecture, and I think the reason that I was asked to talk to you today is that a majority of these buildings were designed by our founder, Albert Kahn. The University of Michigan was founded in 1817 as one of the first public universities in the nation. The school moved from Detroit to Ann Arbor in 1837 when Ann Arbor was only 13 years old. In 1866, 25 years after the move to Ann Arbor, the University of Michigan became the largest university in the country. Since 1837, this 40-acre site has been the heart of the University of Michigan Central Campus. It is here that students gather throughout the year and is one of the places always written to by alumni. The name the Diag comes from two major diagonal sidewalks that connect the corners of this large rectangular space bounded by South University Street, or South U as it's best known, North U, East U, and State Street on the west. The crossing of these major diagonal walks at the center of the Diag is a bronze Block M, gift of the class of 1954. Legend holds that any student who steps on the M will fail their first exam. The following buildings will be presented in sequence of their design and construction. While featured elsewhere as a part of this series, a description of the buildings that border the Diag would be incomplete without a brief description about the engineering building, later renamed West Engineering, then West Hall. It was designed by Mason and Kahn, George D. Mason and Albert Kahn in 1902-1903 and forms the southeast gateway into the Diag through the engine arch. This brick with limestone trimmed building was significantly expanded in 1908 to 1910 by Albert Kahn architect with Ernest Wilby associate. 100 years following the design of the original building, Albert Kahn Associates completed a major renovation of the building. As the southeast entry point to the Diag through the engine arch, this is the portal through which thousands of students come on a daily basis into the Central Campus. Here too, a discussion of the buildings that border the Diag would be only partially complete without mention of another building featured elsewhere in this series, Hill Auditorium. Originally called Hill Memorial Hall, this most famous of Albert Kahn's buildings on the U of M campus was designed in 1911 through 1913 by Albert Kahn architect and Ernest Wilby associate. The marvelous acoustics within this brick with limestone trimmed hall was assured through the efforts of Hugh Talent, acoustic engineer from New York City, as part of the original design team. Albert Kahn Associates, along with historic preservation firm of Quinn Evans, has succeeded in performing a masterful restoration and expansion to Hill, resulting in a National AIA Design Award in 2005. The Science Building was designed in 1914 by Albert Kahn architect and Ernest Wilby associate. This brick with limestone trimmed building presents a strong facade across North U from Hill Auditorium and forms part of the northwest edge of the Diag. The library building, now known as the Graduate Library, was designed in 1916-1917 by Albert Kahn architect with Ernest Wilby associate, and is arguably the most prominent brick with limestone trimmed building within the Diag, as it's not along an edge, but rather is near the center, just south of the bronze M, and forms the south terminus of the Central Campus Mall. The firm of Albert Kahn Associates has performed several renovations and an expansion to this memorable landmark. The William L. Clements Library, which houses a rare books collection, was designed in 1921-1922 by Albert Kahn architect. This small, all-limestone building is AK's favorite and faces South U and is positioned behind the Graduate Library. The literary building, renamed Angel Hall, was designed in 1923-1924 by Albert Kahn, architect. This all-limestone building faces on State Street and forms the principal west edge of the Diag. Albert Kahn Associates was retained in the late 90s to design a complete renovation of this stately facility. The University Museum, with the engraving that reads Alumni Memorial Hall, is now known as the Art Museum. It sits at the southwest corner of the Diag at South U and State Streets. Designed in 1926-1927 by Albert Kahn, Inc. architects, this all-limestone building, while not large, provides a strong anchor at this very important entry point to the Diag. On a somewhat humorous note, of recent vintage is Shapiro Library, formerly known as the Undergraduate Library, and fondly referred to by the students and faculty as the UGLY. That's right, the ugly, which it was. Designed in the 50s by Albert Kahn Associates, this was the firm's first venture into modern architecture for a higher education client. Less than achieving the desired results, when it came time to expand the library, I received a call from the then Director of Plant Extension for the university, who said, "We want to give Albert Kahn Associates a chance to redeem themselves." We believe we did. It's interesting to note that this project was one of the first where the university employed a time-lapse camera to capture the entire construction process. This project, very involved, resulted in building all the way around the existing building, but never taking it out of commission. It always remained open to students throughout the entire construction process, as can be seen through this time-lapse footage. Additional buildings flanking the Diag include the President's House, Randall Labs, and approximately 8 academic buildings. Today, the University of Michigan remains one of the most distinguished universities in the world and a leader in higher education. It is one of only 2 public institutions consistently ranked in the nation's top 10 universities.